Tip number 5, be schooled in best practices when it comes to securing IP devices. Tough to get into this one in a short time frame, but Mark, to me, this seems like one of the big ones. Cybersecurity has to be at the top of the list of things keeping IT directors up at night. What do you want to say here?
Well, we could spend quite a bit of time on this. I'm going to divide this up into management access and network access. I think here this is understanding, and I just saw this with a client recently. They're like going, have you read our guidelines? So if the company has issued their security guidelines of what any device on the network should be doing in terms of turning off certain services or enabling certain security protocol, you should know that. If they don't have those guidelines, you should recommend that they create them so that you can follow them. Our company, Schimmel's & Wilkie, as a consulting firm, is multifaceted, integrated. And so we have both AV, IT, and security, but this type of security is a little bit unique. So in management access, you need to understand about network control access and single sign-on. Single sign-on is really key. A lot of the times, like look at Cisco. Did you know that every Cisco device still uses unique login? Imagine hundreds of devices on a network, and every one of them has a unique login. Or you have to track all those addresses. That is a nightmare for IT networks and security. You really want to get to the ability to use Active Directory so that you don't have to hold and manage network passwords. There are ways that you can manage those lists if they're stored on an online access controlled file place where only you are limited to. So understanding ACLs, Active Directory, and LDAP, and how that can help, and then pushing that back into your manufacturer conversations like with Dan, so these devices are actually, if they don't have them now, they are able to do them. You want to limit access to devices that are not necessarily need to be on the network and put them inside an application or web service so that you get into that application, and then you can get into your web cameras, the other support tools. You have to disable root access. I mean, that's kind of key here, is that there has to be unique user administration counts, strong passwords on these devices. The rule of change is every 45 days they're going to have to put in new passwords. You have to turn Telnet off. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that, but that and FTP has to be disabled, and you want to use SSH. That's really key. You want to try to use the encrypted channels, and you don't want to be presenting more than one MAC address. Basically, you don't want to have any AV managed switches downstream here. So that means that you're going to have to sit politely on their network and follow their requirements. And everything that's not a PC on a PC build is considered an exception. And you're going to be expected to go through a security review and be able to explain how those devices are going to work on the network. And don't forget about securing the Wi-Fi. Many companies have to restrict access here, and therefore, how's that going to work, like with Mercer Solstice or Air Media? I mean, are they going to be able to share your applications from the setup or from a guest network? And also, the other big key thing here is two-factor authentication, right? 2FA is very much in the news. Everyone's using it. If you have a bank account online, you're using it. And yet, a lot of codex devices don't work with 2FA. So that's where you need to be understanding not only just of what the requirements are from the network side, but what the device and the design of the network is able to support.
Okay. Now, Dan, I'll ask you to quickly summarize, what you're seeing from the video side of the equation, because this has got to be something that you're also seeing as a big topic for IT directors. Any thoughts you want to add here?
Yeah, really quickly. One of the things that we deal with network access, it deals specifically with desktop viewing. And everything that we're running is coming out of an MSI extractor and loads into a component in IE or Safari or whatever browser it is that we are running that application in. And we have to go over and above when we're working with certain customers, financial customers, government customers, to prove that the server and the software platform that we are using to push out that information is not going to cause any vulnerabilities in their network. We have an Excel spreadsheet at our disposal that we use for the U.S. government for our STIG that shows that we have covered like 200 different vulnerabilities that you found in just a standard Windows 2012 server. So that's the kind of stuff that when we're talking about network access issues that we have to deal with on a project-by-project basis. I want to speak to something here that's a little bit outside of what this slide may be intending, but we're actually dealing with an issue right now. I have a tech on the phone. I'm sitting on this conference call. I can see his red light on, where the integrator that we're working with on a project didn't have full access to the customer's network. They just had guest access, and they put 3 of our encoders on set as DHCP, and now they don't have the ability to go in and manage these encoders remotely because they're just guest access, and the guest access is restricted. So this question kind of goes both ways, and need to make sure that your devices are secure, but you also need to make sure that someone within your organization is going to have a full access to the customer's network, or the ability to get full access to the customer's network at the time of install.